student sitting in, say, one of those college hostel rooms can gather satellite imagery, build an application overnight, publish it either on GitHub, or go and raise funds from a VC next day.
Welcome to Cypher 2025. I have with me Suraj Singh, founder and CEO of GalaxEye. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Suraj, you were talking about satellite imagery being one of the most difficult things. So how is GalaxEye mitigating this? How are you going about the whole scene?
See, I think generally it's all about when you're building a software solution or an AI solution, you always need data references, the use cases, and so on and so forth. Satellite imagery is one of those worlds, where data accessibility and availability is pretty difficult. And there are many reasons for that. One is we have not thought of a lot of use cases already. And two, data itself is not very consistently available because of the nature's problem.
Yeah.
You sometimes will have the clouds, you will have the nighttime imaging. Half of the time you are not seeing the sun, you're seeing the sun when the satellite is orbiting around the earth. So I think all of these problems, I would rather count it as availability, understandability, and the use cases. These three pieces are piecemeal today. That's what we're trying to bridge, and make them come together, so that satellite imagery becomes more commoditized. Like, you and I should not think about that, oh, this is some other world, but something that I can go ahead and build an application on.
You were speaking about generative AI bit in the whole piece. Can you just elaborate a bit on that? That was quite an interesting piece.
So I may not want to call it generative AI completely, but I would love to call it that, it's an AI which is using SAR image or the radar image of the latest kind to generate an optical image. Now, optical image is a camera-like image that you and I can understand. Anyone can just visually interpret it. Radars are difficult to visually interpret. Right? So what we want to do is, radars are always available. And if I can convert a radar into a lookalike optical camera image, that probably will solve the problem, right? Then I don't need to train people on specific satellite imageries. A student sitting in, say, one of those college hostel rooms can gather satellite imagery, build an application overnight, publish it either on GitHub, or go and raise funds from a VC next day, to build an application on that. So that friction is something that we're trying to remove.
So it's kind of making it accessible to a lot of people, right? In terms of experimenting and working with it.
Making it easier for people to become, use satellite imagery at scale.
Okay, got it. And, but I'm sure there's a lot of challenges and limitations to your whole operation bit. Can you just throw some light on that?
So I think, technically it's a hard problem to solve, right? When you put together a radar, which is an active sensor. So you will have an antenna that is sending waves on the earth, and then you're getting reflection of that wave. Then you're recording those details. Then you get the sun's reflection on the lenses, and then you're recording those photonic measurements onto your, data acquisition system of the camera. When you correlate an optical measurement and the radar measurement and put it together as an image, a lot of signal processing has to go in place. Post signal processing, you will have to do a lot of corrections, starting with atmospheric correction, radiometric corrections, and so on and so forth. So I think there's the levels of complexities as you go along, choosing a particular sensor stack, particular form factor of the satellite. The higher the resolution, more the number of problems that comes into picture. So I think, yes, to answer your question simply, a lot more goes into the technical side of the story. But at the end of the day, let's understand, right? All this effort of people who are building into deep tech, especially in space tech, is to kind of make the data available. Like, the simple problem is, how can we make data available? Now, for all that, the tech is not superficial, it's much more deeper.
Good. And you said this thing, now is the best time to build space tech in India.
Right.
Why is that?
I think we are living in an age where India is certainly going to become a leader in the world. Right. We've seen software talent. We are a spacefaring country, because all the kudos goes to ISRO, for a bunch of great missions from, 104 satellites on the same rocket to launching Chandrayaan 3 at a shoestring budget and so on and so forth. So I think we are a spacefaring nation. We have a government which is fully supportive of this entire thing. The space policy has been rolled out, right? Space reforms were made in 2021, 2020, during the COVID times. And, the Prime Minister of this country himself is really excited about space. So I think these are all those, I would say, the tailwinds that everyone should try and capitalize on, where you're getting into, say, the policy is aligned, the markets are getting formed, the talent is stopping by and not going to the Western countries to pursue their further studies and getting a job there. And, the AI is making the SaaS world easier. So a harder problem for people to solve of the training that they have done in their colleges, the opportunities are now available. So I think there are a lot of macro factors which are alluding to say that, space tech is here, now in here, let's go and build it.
Right. So on the talent bit, but do you see that as a challenge even now, or you're saying that, say back then, like people would want to study or higher studies outside, get a job there. Mm-hmm. So how do you retain the talent in India so that they come to work for companies like yours?
See, let's understand talent, right? Talent is never 0-1. Talent is like, we don't have talent, and then the other thing is we have talent, right? It's never like that. Mm-hmm. Talent is at a state, right? I think 5 years back, we were very raw in terms of, how to build a hardware, how to build a hardware product, be it in the drone space, be it in the satellite space. Mm-hmm. Right? We were not as fond of solving mathematical problems as we were fond of building dashboards and doing product management, right? But now we've come to a state where we see more enthusiasm around solving mathematical problems sets, right, by the students. So this is one thing that we have seen as a change happening slowly and gradually. And given the reforms in AI, semiconductors, and space, this talent is getting, better by the day. So that is something that is already available in India, but they will lead up to a point in the future where they will be ready. Mm-hmm. But I would say they are getting ready.
No, right? Yeah.
Coming back to how do we retain talent or how do we find and spot people, I think we have a two-part mechanism. In India, we find people who have either worked on a similar research paper, a similar field, domain, same set of professors who are working on a similar domain. Be it, say, somebody is not working on the satellite, great, but somebody who has worked on drone data sets is also equally good.
Okay.
And then some of the talents we actually get back from the US, people who have gone to study in the US, but could not find an opportunity there because they are Indian citizens and they are not allowed to work on satellite or touch satellite hardware there in the US, right? Okay. So naturally they have to come back if they are interested enough to work on the satellite. Otherwise they'll get a software opportunity there. So it's good for us, that there's the reverse sort of brain drain that has started to happen. And I think around 10% of our team is like that.
Wow. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So you would obviously see it growing and this particular number. I mean, the talent bit would always be growing. That's good to hear. And just one last question on Mission Drishti, or when are you looking to launch this project?
So it's Q1 2026. Mm-hmm. This Mission Dishi is a satellite which is India's biggest satellite, 160 to 170 kg, 160 plus kg class satellite. So it's not a shoebox satellite. It's a fairly large satellite in place. It's India's highest resolution satellite in terms of multi-sensor combination and everything put together. And it's world's first of its own kind. So I think many firsts are there, but what we're truly excited about it is getting it up there, beaming down the data, and start, building a lot of downstream use cases. I'm sure, once we have data in the orbit, satellite in the orbit and data beaming down, I see a possibility of, starting 10 more companies, not by ourselves, but, by the community, to solve those verticalized problems. For example, agriculture, aquaculture, utilities, and so on and so forth.
Got it. Sounds very exciting, Suresh. Looking forward to it and good luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.